How's it going, everybody? Today I want to share with you some thoughts and ideas on how you can get the best deal possible and negotiate like a pro in a weakening real estate market or a buyer's market. Now, as many of you know, many parts of the United States right now are starting to shift more towards a buyer's market. We're seeing inventory levels rising, the days that a property sits on the market before it sells going up substantially, and in many places, prices are starting to come down. So overall, conditions are becoming much more favorable to a buyer. And so I want to share with you some thoughts and ideas on how you can take advantage of this and make sure that you get the best property at the best possible price. Now, the main factors that are causing this slowdown in the market are the elevated interest rates that we've been dealing with for the last couple years, the economic uncertainty that we're facing right now, including the potential to head into a recession, and a lot more inventory finally being listed after relatively low inventory levels over the last couple years. When you combine all of these factors, it's really creating a slowdown. A lot of buyers are thinking they might lose their jobs or they have lost their jobs. And so buyer demand is just starting to drop off pretty quickly. The great thing about this is that it offers up a lot of opportunities for knowledgeable buyers on getting a really good deal for a really nice property in many markets across the country. So the first thing you want to do to make sure you get the best deal possible is to know your leverage points. And what I mean by that is understand the nuance and the fundamentals in the market that you're looking to buy in. Is there a lot of inventory on the market that's not selling? What's happening with days on market? Has it been going up? Knowing this information really helps you to write a compelling offer and to understand the seller's situation and how they're probably feeling in terms of their experience of having their home on the market. Additionally, you'll want to have your agent try to find out as much as possible from the seller's side, meaning, are they in a hurry to sell? Do they have to be somewhere at a certain time? Do they absolutely need to sell, or do they just want to sell? And are they willing to not sell if they don't get the right offer? Getting answers to those sorts of questions really lets you know what kind of leverage you have in the transaction and how hard you can push for a good deal, versus when a seller doesn't have much motivation or really isn't set on selling unless they get a phenomenal price. You know upfront whether or not you're likely going to be wasting your time or whether or not you might be able to get a really great deal on that property. Additionally, understanding the market trends in that area can really help you in the negotiation process, particularly if the seller isn't willing to do what you want them to do, or maybe they're coming back at a price that's a little bit too high, and having your agent be in a knowledgeable position to communicate the trends and the realities of the market with their agent to hopefully get them on the same page and making the right decisions can be a real benefit in the negotiation process. The next thing you'll want to do once you've gathered all this information is craft a winning negotiation strategy. Let me give you an example. If a seller is telling you that they don't really need to sell, they don't care if they sell, and you recognize that their home is priced substantially above similar homes that are on the market currently, that's a pretty good indicator that they're not going to be the right seller to go after to get a really good deal or a fair deal on the home. So you want to have a winning strategy going in where you know what to expect in this situation. And if you write an offer that you think is reasonable and the seller is not willing to play ball, you're just going to move on quickly and go find a property where the seller is more motivated and is willing to price the home correctly and work with whatever you're trying to include in your offer. It's really important during this stage to have good communication with your agent, be on the same page while you gather all of this data, and then do your best to communicate as much of this information effectively, both when you write the initial offer and then when you invariably get a counteroffer back from the seller, from their agent, so that way you can ensure that the seller's agent and the seller does fully understand the realities of the market that they're in and can make the best decision accordingly. The next important thing is mastering the art of negotiation tactics. And what I mean by that is after years and years of being in the real estate business and negotiating tons and tons of transactions, I know some of the strategies that you can use to get the best deal possible. So there are several things that you can do to really win at negotiations, especially as we move into a buyer's market. One thing you can do is if you know the seller is motivated and they definitely need to sell their home, and if they're priced at the market or maybe a little bit above the market and the home's already been sitting on the market for a little while, and you know they don't currently have any active offers that they're negotiating, you can just go in substantially lower than you're actually willing to pay for the home and just see what the seller decides. There's always a small chance that they might just accept your offer, or they might counter back at a much lower price than you ever anticipated. Another thing you can do is really try to understand the seller's situation and be as flexible as possible to give them what they want while also making sure you get the best deal. So what I mean by that is a lot of sellers are just trying to get out. They don't want to have to put up a bunch of money to fix the property or anything like that. Maybe they want to hurry up and move. So if you're willing to adapt to their needs and say, hey, we'll just buy the home as is. We can give you as little time as you want, or we can give you a lease back if you want to stay in the property a few months after closing. They're going to be a lot more willing in many cases to negotiate a lower price. And so instead of having them do the repairs, you can negotiate a credit or maybe a nice price reduction to get the price down even lower than you initially had negotiated upfront. Another thing you can do is if you really like the property and you really want to get it, even if the seller comes back a little higher than you'd hoped for, what you can do is you can really go back to them and really try to push the reality of the market, provide some data, maybe show a lot of the other homes that are comparable or even maybe in better condition than theirs that are priced lower than theirs that are still sitting on the market that haven't sold, and include that information with your counter offer back to them. Make sure your agent is communicating that to their agent, so that way hopefully the seller gets the picture of what's really going on. And lastly, almost every property that I've ever sold, whenever an inspection gets done, there's always a laundry list of things that end up showing up on any inspection. Now, in the past, when the market was hyper competitive, buyers generally just bought properties as is and they dealt with all the problems after they became the owners. But now as the market is shifting more towards a buyer's market, this gives you another opportunity as a buyer to renegotiate the contract once you've done your inspections. So once your inspections get done, you're going to see all the things that ideally would need to be done to the property to bring it up to, a level that you're comfortable with. And you're able to ask them to provide whatever credit or whatever repairs you'd like them to provide. And this is once again another opportunity to negotiate a lower price, or to get some credit back, or to get them to do a lot of these repairs for you. So that way, when you move in, the property is already ready to go. And in many cases, you'll be able to negotiate from the very beginning a substantial discount. And then after you do your inspections, an additional large discount to get a very, very good price on the property overall. Lastly, some additional thoughts on how to secure the best possible outcome for yourself. I want to emphasize the importance of persistence, patience, and perseverance, as well as flexibility throughout the buying process. If you really want to go out there and get the best deal possible, you're probably going to have to write offers on at least 2, 3, 4 properties before you get a seller that's really motivated and is willing to do whatever it's going to take to sell the property. So by being calm and patient and flexible throughout the process, that's going to allow you to pick up on subtleties and to put yourself in the best position to succeed at getting a wonderful deal. And if a seller isn't willing to play ball, that's no problem. You just move on to the next seller, because the good news is there's a lot more inventory on the market than there was a few years ago. So once you understand the current market landscape, identified all of your leverage points and use them to your advantage, crafted your winning negotiation strategy, mastered the art of negotiation tactics, you'll be in a position to secure the best outcome possible. The seller will ultimately be happy because they'll get what they want. You'll know that you're smooth sailing until the close of escrow, when you get the keys and move into your new home. Guys and gals, I hope this information was useful. If I can help you with any real estate needs here in Greater Los Angeles or North Orange County, I'm here to help. Reach out to me, let me know. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you would like me to do another similar video about how sellers can win at negotiating in a buyer's market, go ahead and leave those comments below, or just let me know some of your thoughts down below in the comments. Either way, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.